beekeepers and bee enthusiasts. How you doing? It's another day of the farm, and we are very excited today because it's about 75 degrees out. We've been waiting for a warm day so we can do our spring inspection, and we're really happy to get started. We're not doing all the hives today. We're basically going into our two most active hives, which is the hydrangea hive and the forestry hive. And we're going to show you how we do a quick and easy natural beekeeping spring inspection. So, these inspections, they don't take a tremendous amount of time because we don't want to spend too much time in the hives because that's when the bees can get stressed. So we really want to be in and out. We're going to go through our procedures before we go into the hives and also the equipment we're going to be using so you can get a good understanding of how we do it. And it should be a great video. We're really excited about it. Without further ado, let's break right into it. So the first thing we want to talk about is the equipment we're going to be using. Now, we don't use a lot of stuff. We've just got some real basic tools, but all of them have very good use in what they do. So we'll just run through this real quick. First off, smoker. Smoker's really good to have. If you have bees that are a little hot, or maybe they're buzzing you a few times, you can mask the air around you with smoke, and it's just a really good tool for that. I don't smoke the inside of my hives that much because that can make the queen jump off a frame, or they could think maybe the hive's on fire so they need to evacuate. So I really try not to smoke the hive. If I got to clean bees off of certain parts of the hive, then I might use a little smoke on them. But as far as like the brood chamber goes, I don't generally just smoke that area. And smoker's pretty good. Next big thing is, of course, our bee suit. Now, this is a mesh. If you don't know where we got this, it's called a bug baffler. So we got it from bugbaffler.com. And it's just a mesh, and we wear this on top. I'm going to be wearing this t-shirt, but underneath it, or on top of it, I'm going to be wearing this mesh. And it pretty much keeps bees off of you for the most part. I will get stung sometimes, but it's not that often. And it's not often enough to where I want to change. Usually if I get stung wearing this, it's because I'm matched up against a bee or something like that. But, I'll be honest with you, even those really big suits that some people wear, you can still get stung through those suits. So you'd be surprised like what a bee can sting through. But anyway, this mesh pretty much keeps them off. And it's just really good. And also the big thing is it's really light and it breathes really easy. So it doesn't like if you're in a normal bee suit that's like white and it's just a big suit, you will get hot in those suits. They will definitely heat you up quite a bit, and it can just be really hot. So this is definitely the easy thing to use. We've been using these honestly for about 3 years now, so they've lasted us a long time. And it's been going really good. So let's move on to our next thing. Bee brush, very simple, it's just a bee brush. If I ever need to get bees off a certain area, these bristles are pretty soft. I just use the bee brush and it works pretty good. For covering my hands, I wear latex gloves. So these little gloves right here, they're like surgical gloves, like you just wear them. And bees typically don't sting these things. Like I don't know if the material feels strange to them or anything, the rubber, but they generally don't sting them. So they work really well, so we like these gloves. The last big thing, and probably one of the most important tools, is the hive tool. This thing is so important when prying open frames and moving frames and stuff like that. You need a hive tool. Some hive tools are flat. I kind of like the one with the hook at the end because that allows me to pry open frames a little easier. But this is a really good hive tool. Get you a good hive tool when working with your bees because, getting in there and using the hive tool it's important. So be sure to have one of those. And that's about it. That's basically all the equipment we use. We don't really overcomplicate it. I don't have any kind of special crazy surgical tools or anything. I just got some very basic tools that are all very useful, and you should definitely have them too if you're going through your hives. Make sure you're very well prepared for that. And let's go ahead and move on to our procedures going into the hive. So as far as procedures go, you know, when we're actually going through the hive, we don't want to spend too much time, because the more time you spend in a hive with the frames exposed and everything, you are stressing out your bees. And that's just how it is. Bees do not want to be interacted with by human beings. They want to mind their own business and do their thing. So the less time we can spend in a hive, the better it is for the bees, and the less stressed they will be. They'll be less likely to do things like abscond and so on and so forth. So what we will take our time on, though, is prior to going in, right now, we will explain our procedures so you understand what we're doing, and you will see it play through, and you can use these explanations to kind of help you if you're getting into beekeeping and you want to, you know, get good reads from your hives while at the same time not disturbing them too much. So there's some few basic things we're looking for. So first off, we're going to open the hive, and there's going to be straw on the side in the empty space. We have to empty out the straw. Then we are going to take the divider board and move it back, and then we will start looking through frames, okay, one by one. Now there's two things that we're looking for when we're going through the hives, okay, two things, and that is, of course, brood and food. We are looking for food such as honey or nectar or pollen or whatever, you know, and we're also looking for eggs and stuff like that, so we can see how our queen is doing. Now, it's a lot easier to inspect brood than it is to find the queen. But doing the same thing, two things, tells you the same thing, okay? And what I mean by that is, if we know the brood looks good, and there's, you know, the eggs are good, big blotches of brood, then we know that that is a good laying queen. So there's no point in finding the queen, okay? Let her do her thing. You don't need to find her. If you see the brood is good, that's all you got to do. There's no point in sitting there and searching for the queen and all that. All you're doing is disturbing your bees even more. So if you see good brood, you know you have a good queen. That's all you got to see. And as long as you see eggs and stuff like that, even if the queen died, they could still replace her with a new queen. So again, you don't need to sit there and look for the queen. It just takes too much time. You're better off just going through the inspection, and yeah, it's as simple as that. So once we have found brood and food, we are going to basically take two frames, and we're going to put them in between the first frame and the second frame, which will move all the other frames down. And then at that point, we are going to add frames to fill out the entire hive. So we are filling the entire hive with frames. This is something new we're doing this year. We're going to see how it goes. But DeLand's, the gentleman who basically made the Land's hive, he got to the point where he was filling out his hives with frames and not going into them until the fall, and just letting the bees just fill them out. And the great thing about that is there's no disturbing the bees through the year. So you fill it with frames, you leave them alone, and then in the fall you can take your excess honey. So after we're done inspecting, then we will take frames and we will fill out the rest of the hive, and then we'll basically close it up, and that's about it. And like I said, we're not doing that much. We're just kind of going through a few frames, looking for brood and food, and then basically we're filling the rest of the hive out with frames, and then we're done. It's basically as simple as that. So you're going to see us do it twice today. We're going to do it on the hydrangea hive, and then we're going to do it on the forestry hive. And yeah, it'll be great. It'll be a lot of fun. You know, like I said, whenever I'm going through, I will speak at certain times, but in the long run, I really just want to get through it, and I just want to disturb those bees as little as possible. In any case, it's going to be a lot of fun. We're very excited for it. These bees, especially the hydrangea hive, they are packed. Like, there is a lot of bees, especially on the outside of the hive. We think they're about to swarm soon. So maybe we'll find some swarm cells and stuff like that, and that'll tell us that maybe they're about to swarm soon. It'll be some really good inspections, and let's just get right into it. Okay, so we're outside the hive now. These bees are pretty busy right now, and like I said, it's going to be straight through. We're not going to take too much time doing this. We're looking for brood and food, taking out the winterization. It should be good to go. So let's go ahead and open this hive up. Using my smoker, not smoking inside the brood chamber, just giving myself some smoke around. I could definitely tell these bees are packed because they are in the straw. I'm gonna try to take them out. Okay, so on this frame, on this side, there's nectar in here and on this other side too. So that's good, that means they're collecting nectar. Okay. This is brood. So remember what I told you at the start. I said we're looking for brood and food, okay? So we saw the nectar. If you look on this side, there's some beautiful brood on that frame. Yeah, they're looking real good. Okay, this just looks like a normal frame. Seeing some pollen inside the hive. So that's a good thing. We kind of figured they were pulling in pollen. Okay, it looks like some drone brood over here. A few cells over there. Alright, we got some more brood. Some spotted brood, but it's still brood. You can see that. I've pretty much seen all I need to see out of this hive. You know, we've seen food, which is good. They've got nectar. I'm seeing pollen. So we've pretty much seen all we need to see out of this hive. So what I'm gonna do is I'm not gonna break any further into the hive. I mean, I'm gonna put 2 empty frames in between over here. But like I said, we've seen what we need to see. So let's get this hive filled out with frames, and then they'll be good to go. All right, so we got 2 empty frames on the end. So now we're going to close these frames up. I'm just trying to get them out of the way so I don't crush them. I like to use the smoker, but I'd rather not crush the bees if possible. Sometimes you can't help it. As you can see, like I said earlier, now we're just filling out the rest of the hive with frames, and we're going to leave these bees alone. I don't think I could fit another one in there. I'll have to come back and get a board to put over that, but that should be good. And that is a spring inspection. So what were the 2 things we saw in there? We saw brood and we saw food. The brood tells us the queen is in there. She's laying well, doing just fine. We also saw sources of nectar, which means they have food. They are bringing in pollen. I saw lots of bees of pollen. But we've just loaded these bees with frames, so we're not going to touch them again until the fall. So they're going to be left alone to do what they want to do, fill out the frames how they want. And in the fall, we'll do the honey extraction. And yeah, it's as simple as that. So there you go. Okay, so once again, now we're going through the forestry hive. They are very populated. I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of bees on the inside of here. So we're gonna open it up. We're gonna take winterization out, go through the frames, just take a peek at a few frames, see how the queen's doing, see if they got food. Fill it with frames, close it up, done deal. Okay. We got frames up top. We got a lot of we got bees up top. Got a lot of bees in the straw. A lot of bees up here. They're starting to make comb, but fortunately we're getting here now before they, really gunk it up with comb and So I think what I'll do is I'll take the divider board out first, then I'll try to get that straw out, and we'll go from there. Okay, so I'm seeing a little bit of brood. Definitely some brood over here, some nectar. Okay, lots of brood on this frame. And that's looking, it looks like the other part of this frame is on the next one. But anyway, lots of brood right there. So we know the queen is laying good. That's a good thing. Okay, so you can see lots of brood, lots of drone brood. Also seeing a little bit of honey, so that's good. So seeing food and brood. So we've seen what we want to see. There's not much else we can learn from this hive. So I'm gonna kind of speed this up. We found everything that we want to find. Okay, more brood. Good. Okay, so let's get 2 frames in here. Okay, so before we put these last few frames back in, what might be some comb right here. I don't want to crush the bees when I shut the hive, so I have to smoke these bees and get them off. I don't want to hurt them, I just don't want to crush them either.
I hear the queen. You hear her, son?
Mm-hmm. Can you hear her piping?
Yep.
I'm sure they're going to swarm soon. Okay. That's got me sweating like crazy.
Very nice.
Yeah, so that basically is our hive inspection. As you can see, we don't really do a tremendous amount of things. We found the brood, we found some food in there. We know the bees are doing good. So we filled them out with frames. Now we'll just leave them alone until the fall. And when the fall comes, then we'll do our honey extraction. All right, so that pretty much covers our spring inspection. So as you saw in those clips, we didn't spend way too much time messing with the bees. We went through the hives, we found brood and food in both hives that we went through today, and that is all you need to see. I mean, if you see good brood patterns and you see that they have nectar or pollen or any kind of food, then you can tell that your bees are doing fine, and that's really all you need to know. And then once we saw those things, we kind of got quicker with our inspection until it was pretty much over with. We finished by filling the hives with frames, and we were not going to mess with those hives up until the fall. So now that we've filled them with frames, all we're going to do is be washing them and whatnot, but we don't have to mess with them again until the fall when we do our honey extraction. So it was a really good time. You know, it's funny because when we're leading up to it, your anxiety kind of gets going a little bit, but once you're actually going through those frames, it's over before you know it, and it's pretty simple. So we hope you enjoyed it, and until next time, we'll see you soon.